we're all kind of shaken here today.
Yeah, for sure.
And certainly also in my household because Susie was close to this guy, covering the Shaq and Kobe Lakers when she first moved out here to Los Angeles many moons ago. And he's been a frequent guest of this program when Susie sits in this chair. Jerry West, the all-time great, passing away at the age of 86 this morning here in Los Angeles, which is in full mourning over the loss of one of their all-time greats, and not just one of their all-time greats, basketball's all-time greats. And on the day of Game 3 of the NBA Finals, the only man to win MVP of the NBA Finals, despite losing the Finals, is going to have a moment for him, and rightfully so. Because a lot of the kids out there who love this sport, play this sport, a lot of folks of a younger generation, I think will learn, if they already didn't, that Jerry West is the logo of the NBA and why he is the logo. And the photograph we have up on the screen here, if you won't mind leaving it up on the screen for a second. I didn't know this is the first photograph that you're going to choose, Mike Hoskins, but it's perfect. It perfectly encapsulates who Jerry West is for so many people. It is not, for those listening, from his playing days. It is from his executive days. Natalie clad as always, the man being a perfectionist on the court, and I think also about his appearance as well. Hair perfectly coiffed, tie perfectly knotted, suit and tie colors, just absolutely perfect. And then he's sitting on chairs that are decked with the logo. His playing style, his dribbling style, perfection. And personifies what it is to be an NBA player and what the NBA wants to put out there as fundamentally sound as you possibly can have. Jerry West dribbling around Bill Bradley and Walt Clyde Frazier in the photograph on the screen right here.
It's so silly, but when I was a kid, TJ, Rich, I used to think Jerry West was a lefty because the logo is him
Dribbling
using
with his left
hand
hand,
and going left. And I just always thought, and then, as I got older and I saw clips, I'm like, wait, he was right-handed? That was just so confusing to me, but it's just kind of ironic.
The most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament in West Virginia coming out of college, becoming the second overall pick of the Minneapolis Lakers in 1960, and then was the star of the team when the Lakers first arrived in Los Angeles, California. And his resume is the stuff of legends.
That's insane, man.
A three-time Hall of Fame selection.
He just got in recently, right, for his executive duties, or was it the coaching?
An NBA champion couple times, as you could see, an NBA champion 1971 to 72, pardon me. That's just one season, but an NBA Finals MVP, not of the year that he won, of the year that he lost. Think about that.
Lost the Finals one.
That will never happen again. 14-time NBA All-Star every season he played in the NBA. He was an All-Star, 10-time All-NBA first team, an Olympic gold medalist, most career points in the history of the NBA Finals. And, of course, the 2-time NBA Executive of the Year, which we'll get to in a second. But think about this. Again, he's the logo of the NBA, star player of the team. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when the team moved to Los Angeles.
That's a great cover.
From Cabin Creek to Hollywood and Vine, said Sports Illustrated on the cover of the first week of February 1965. 35 cents was the cost of this publication.
Amazing. That's amazing.
As Jerry West brought the Lakers west.
Wow.
Jerry brought them west. Think
I've
about
never seen
this.
that cover before.
Me neither.
And what he did here, obviously, as a player, and then coaching, and then being an executive for the Lakers from 1979 to 2000. And this just in, if you need any help on this one. That's the Showtime Lakers. And then he was executive of the year for the 94-95 Lakers season. Okay? You think, was that anything to do with Kobe and Shaq or anything? Not at all. It was before that. And as a matter of fact, that was the first year he won Executive of the Year in the NBA. As a matter of fact, it was 1 week in July of 1996. He swapped Vlade Divac for the drafting rights of Kobe Bryant. And then 1 week later, he signed Shaq as a free agent. Do you like those moves?
I mean,
Works.
they worked. They worked.
There he
very
is
well.
with Coach Del Harris welcoming the
Del
kid,
Harris.
Kobe, to Los Angeles. And
A lot of people didn't like that move when it happened. Rich, they liked Vlade, didn't want him
Well,
to
but-
trade for this high school.
but if there's anybody that knew who Kobe Bryant was and what he could do, it was Jerry
It was
West.
Jerry
He saw
West,
and he saw the kid, and he brought the kid into his house. The kid would eat dinner there when he first moved to Los Angeles, and then Shaquille O'Neal is the guy he brought to L.A. saying, "Okay, you don't want to be in Orlando anymore. Why don't you come here and let's win titles together?" He's the one who said to Phil Jackson, 1999, "Let's sign you up." The rest, as we all know, is history. And sure enough, he had the team, and he left the team in 2000. And there's a story about that. Wound up in Memphis, and within a year there, won his second Executive of the Year award as he put together a team that put the Grizzlies in the playoffs for the first time ever, a 50-win season that served as their only 50-win season in the first 17 years of the franchise's existence. You know who the coach was who decided to hire and was the coach of the year of 2004? A guy named Hubie Brown.
oh,
That was Jerry's vision there.
Wow.
He joined the Warriors organization as a consultant in 2011. While he was there, Steph Curry blossomed. They hired Steve Kerr as coach, and they won their first title in 40 years there. In 2017, Doc Rivers convinced the Clippers to say, let's bring him in here. And that was, to be very honest with you, odd seeing one of the all-time great Lakers sitting in his usual seat and at the time Staples, just nervously watching the team win or lose for the Clippers. And as a matter of fact, today it was the Clippers who announced his passing at the age of 86. I hope I'm doing it some justice here. But I mean, the vast 7 decades of contributions. Okay? Because you have to, all-time great player, all-time great executive, consultant, you have to refer to him as a contributor. Because his contributions to the sport, second to none. It is truly a resume like saying, I was the first man on the moon. Bart Starr, I was the first MVP of the Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, I did it twice in a row to start. I mean, honestly, for somebody to say, be able to say all of what he accomplished, and the thing about him, as anybody who knows him would tell you, he doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about his accomplishments. As a matter of fact, it was revealed by one of his sons that the basketball that he used to score his 20,000th point in the NBA that he received, Jerry West would give to his kids to play ball with in their backyard.
That's amazing.
That the trophies that he had, he would frequently just throw them out. That wasn't him. And I just do remember, from my perspective, when Susie and I were dating long distance, I was in ESPN and she was out here covering the Lakers. And she called me up and she goes, "You'll never guess who I met today." And I'm like, "Who?" And she goes, "Jerry West." And I think the words that she used was sweet, elegant. That's what she used. And he was so welcoming to her. And I'll be honest, I was jealous.
still jealous, right?
Yeah, man. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I ever shared that with Suze, but I was jealous. Anytime she sits in this chair, you know, the first person she would call to see if we come stop by as a guest was Jerry West. And he would say yes. If he was in town, he would say, absolutely, I'm there. And he's appeared on this program in person, in studio with Susie multiple times. And just to kind of put together for you that can kind of show you who he is or a little bit of his essence and his ability to just talk about the sport spanning decades. Here he is with Suze, his final appearance here in 2023, talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the time he gave Kareem notes on how to be better.
I told Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one time, I said, Kareem, if you'd really work hard, and after the end of the season, I said to him, if you really worked hard, you might accomplish things that you can't even believe. After the season, I apologized to him. He made it look so easy because he didn't waste steps. And you see some players, you watch some really great players, unless they're running, their effort is just moving their body subtly to the right places. And within the scheme of a defensive scheme that the coach might put out there for them, they just play the game easier. They have fewer wasted steps in a game, and they accomplish more.
Well, then I have to ask you, how did he take that criticism when you said that to him?
He and I are close. He's one of the players that, I don't know, I've always liked him. And he's different. He's really studious. He's incredibly bright. And he and I like to read. And it came because of reading. He would, I'd hear him talk about certain things. But I met him when he was in high school. And I think what happened, I read about him in the paper. And when I was playing, we practiced at the gym, and I went over and had a conversation with him. And that's, little did I know he was going to get to where he was going to get. And I had an opportunity to coach him. He was a consummate professional, and I admired everything he did. And particularly after being around him, he was one of those players that just didn't waste steps, and it was just an economical way for him to save energy.
You'd think he and Kareem would share just, well, I'm an all-time great, you're an all-time great, so I can take the criticism from you. Reading. Would you guess that? Reading. They bonded through reading. A man of just such...
So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Kareem was an intellect. Jerry.
Well, I'm just saying that Jerry West was just of such a remarkable human on so many levels. I wish I could hopefully do him a little bit better justice maybe than what I'm doing, but to unpack who he is, and I hope I've done enough. Susie's going to join us later at the top of hour 2 just to tell some of her stories as well. And you can chime in as well if you met him or want to call and talk. That's what we're here for as we go through the rest of our day today here on the Rich Eisen Show. A lot of football, as always. Roquan Smith's going to be first up from the Baltimore Ravens. We'll talk with him. James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals scheduled to appear. Lewis Black is coming back here on the program as Inside Out is coming back to a theater near you. So that's how we're rolling on today's edition of the Rich Eisen Show. He'll be here in studio in hour number 3. So we'll remember Jerry West throughout today's program. Again, he appeared here multiple times with Suze in the chair, including one time with Marshall Faulk to his right as well.
And Les Snead was here that day, too.
Yeah.
That was wild. I mean, that's the way Suze rolls when she sits in here.
Yeah, I think that was
you roll with her.
2019. Yeah, a lot going on.
Also, Rich, you talked about how Susie and Jerry were tight. He was sick when he came in that day. And Susie knew that, so she made him soup, and he was so happy. And I got a picture of him holding this soup.
Is that right? I didn't.
Yeah, she made him a big Tupperware, obviously something that Brockman would never return. But
nice.
Yeah,
well, look at him go there.
Tupperware you don't know that Jerry returned it.
That's a good point. But yeah, you could tell he was very fond of her.
I called Susie this morning and told her the news, and she's broken up.
Yeah, I texted her some of the pictures, and
anybody who met him and knew him, and just again, just a certain style and elegance and perfection on the court, off of it. Battled depression, tortured soul. Talking about his father was abusive, and how
rough upbringing,
and how he's dealt with demons while trying to win championships for teammates, cities, front offices, but just always giving of his time and of himself. And I say to him and his family, and the Lakers family, Clippers family, everybody else who Jerry West touched in his remarkable 86 years on this earth, rest in peace.